Hello and welcome to Kerbal Space Program. It is the first episode of the new year, and today we are testing the new technology, rovers. And what is the best place to test rovers? On the moon. So, we are going to launch our first rover mission called MacLeod 1, almost exactly as the first lunar mission, which was launched by Soviet Union sometime in the past. So, without further ado, let us launch this thing and see how it works.
Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
Keep in mind that it is my first rover launch ever, and things might go wrong. We'll see how it goes, but I cannot promise you anything. And as you can see, we're using very interesting rocket design, launching purely with solid rocket boosters, and then going into some kind of asparagus design, but not really. And we're also not using our main engine until we reach some kind of altitude, because there it will be much more efficient. And here we go, switching to the nuclear engine for our orbital burn. As the nuclear engines don't have much thrust, we have to actually aim kind of up on the horizon instead of going directly sideways, or we will not be able to gain enough speed to get into the orbit and will crash into Kerbin. Not something we really want. So our apopsis is 40,000 meters. 50, 60, 70, 80, and we are above the atmosphere, but it is falling down, so let's change it again. And we're actually in some kind of orbit. It will decay if we don't change it, but it is in orbit. So all we have to do is travel a little bit out of the atmosphere and burn prograde to circularize. Almost there. All we need to do now is do a little change right there. And we have almost a circular orbit. And here I see that, wow, we're actually on the perfect approach for the moon. So let's start our burn without doing the maneuver node first, just as we were doing it in the early days before the maneuver nodes were actually introduced. Let's see if I still remember how to do it. Okay. I guess I still need a little bit of correction, so let's do the actual maneuver node. And yes, that looks fine. So let's execute our maneuver node. Just like this. And it looks fairly normal. We are at the moon, and let's circularize our orbit around it. Nothing fancy. Okay, while we are getting into the orbit around the moon, let's talk about our rover. It's a fairly simple thing, connected below the lander stage, and below the the rover, we have another engine which will allow us to actually land. So the idea is to get low enough and then ditch the lander engine and the rover and then land using the lander module. It is probably not going to be the most efficient design, but we have to start somewhere. So the first thing we are going to do is change our inclination, because we want to land somewhere in the crater. For example, this one. And let's lower our apopsis so that we don't start so high above the planet's surface or the moon's surface. And from here on out, things went from good to bad, and then to worse, and then to horrible. Apparently, such design doesn't really work. The lander should be connected some other way, and not between the stages. Or it requires some kind of very precise maneuvering, which I'm unable to do. So let's see what is going to happen. Carefully going down. 200 meters. Our speed is, I say, okay for the landing. Careful, careful. Oops. Next try. Let's try to ditch them before. Land the legs. No. Another one. Careful. And another try. Come on, come on, you can do it. No. Well, that wasn't a success in any sense of word. Let's see if we can push our spacecraft somehow to make it vertical. And it doesn't work. Apparently Jebediah is too light for that, and we need something heavier. But look, our ship landed actually on the wheels, and it is a kind of a rover now. Maybe we can use our SAS to turn around. No. If we had an inline reaction wheel in the base, it might have worked, but without it, the torque from the capsule is just not enough. So, what can we do in this situation? Yeah, I'm still trying to do something. For example, use our wheels to drive around and maybe to gain enough velocity to lift off and then to... No. Not this time. Okay. Maybe now, because now our ship is actually much lighter. Nope. Okay, so the last thing we can do is try to return home. And it looks like we are doing it. We managed to flip around and start our engines fast enough to get into some kind of orbit. And because we are on the proper side of the moon, all we can have to do is burn, and we are getting back to Kerbin. And here we are, falling through the atmosphere at a ridiculous speed, waiting for the parachutes to deploy. And we are back home. And explosions. Good. So, I guess it's back to the drawing board with the rovers and the way they are attached to the spacecraft. So, I'll continue working on that, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you all for watching. Remember to like, dislike, and comment this video in the section below. My name is Darlock. Until next time, goodbye.